African war is not about who wins or who loses. It is about who controls what after the blood have dried. That is why at the end of the Nigerian Biafran Civil War, what was the statement? No victor, no vanquish. Because it was not a matter of who win or who lose. It is who controls what at the end of time. And most times, who controls this? The actual conceptual West. We must understand something. These people don't hate us, but they don't love us. They want us divided. Because a united Africa will negotiate, but a divided Africa will beg. Okay, listen, pay attention, Akebel, and pay attention, my people. You see, I have noticed a pattern in the African war. I have noticed a pattern in the African conflicts. Whenever Africans are fighting in the African soil, guess what happened? Africans usually ask one question. And what is that? What is the international community saying? That is what determines how long the war will last. What is the international community saying? That is what Akebelans will ask. But history has shown and taught us something very painful. What is it? That African wars and African conflicts are really about Africans alone. Let me teach you. You see, when we fight ourselves in Africa, African conflicts are most times engineered, sponsored, financed to do what? To extend for a certain period of time. Do you know what that results to? Our land becomes a negotiating table for foreign powers. They negotiate on our soil. They don't fight for us. They profit from us. And I'm going to teach you using historical events. I'm going to teach you using Congo, using Sudan, and using Nigeria. Pay attention. The modern day tank choir, the voice of Akebel and the Prime Minister is about to teach you. I have been colonized. You can see my Ghanaian chieftains in title in Akebulan. Listen, when you go to Congo, Congo regained their independence in 1960. In 1961, their prime minister, who meant war for the country, who was trying to change the destiny of Congo, Patrice Lumumba, was died in 1961. In 1965, from 1960 to 1965, Congo was in perpetual crisis. What was the interest? The interest was cobalt, uranium, copper. Foreign interest, they wanted it. Most times Africans say that Congo lack good leaders. No, Congo do not lack good leaders. What Congo lack is interest. What Congo lacked is permission to control our own resources. That is what Congo lacked, because that permission always comes from the outside world. Pay attention. Look at Sudanese Civil War, 1955 to 1972. Sudanese First Civil War, 1983 to 2005. Sudanese Second Civil War. In 2011, South Sudan regained their independence. In 2013, Sudanese internal conflict began again. What is the problem? Foreign interest. What is the interest? Oil, armed sales, and strategic influence to the Red Sea. That is the problem. Now let's go to Nigeria. From 1960, she regained their independence October 1st. From 1967 to 1970, what happened? She fought herself. That is one of the most bloody civil war in Africa. Over 3 million lost of lives, mostly civilians. That is one of the worst humanitarian crises in the 20th century. The Nigerian Biafran Civil War. What was the interest? Listen, that was the first time that we saw a communist state and a capitalist state agree on something. Soviet Union and Britain were in Nigeria negotiating using Nigeria to do what? A negotiating table of influence and power. They don't love you. They profit from you. We must understand something. What was the interest of Mr. B? Mr. B wanted to retain the oil in the Niger Delta. What's on Soviet Union? Soviet Union wanted a foothold and a share in Africa. Interest all the time. Interest all the time, Africa. Interest all the time, Akebulan. We must understand something. These people don't hate us, but they don't love us. They want us divided. Because a united Africa will negotiate, but a divided Africa will beg. We must understand that naturally, the Africans are not really people who want violence. Our wars are engineered, they are financed, they are sponsored. So what happened? Weapons flew into our continent. Peace got suspended. Our resources got free out. Africans must understand this pattern. We must study this pattern and understand that whenever we fight ourselves, someone else wins. Whenever we beg and ask them to come, we want the opinion in our crisis. What happened? They come with contracts. They don't come with compassion. Until we began to use African system to solve African problem in Africa, our land will continue to be a battleground for foreign interests and foreign power. That is what we must understand. We must solve our problems by ourselves and not look for a Messiah from the conceptual West. They will not save us. They are not our Messiah. African war is not about who wins or who loses. It is about who controls what after the blood have dried. That is why at the end of the Nigerian Biafran Civil War, what was the statement? No victor, no vanquish. Because it was not a matter of who win or who lose. It is who controls what at the end of time. And most times, who controls this? The actual conceptual West. Akebulan. We must do better. We must do better. We must look inward and solve our problems. We must stop fighting ourselves. We must unite. We must love. We must pioneer the ideas of the founding fathers of this continent so we can recognize and utilize our potential. So we will not sit in the table of mediocrities, but we will sit at the table of the dying of human civilization and enjoy ourselves. Akebulan, this is a new dawn. It's a new dawn. Embrace one another. Akebulan, wisdom. Now water. Wisdom is the principal thing. Let me remind you, it is today, 7 p.m. Modern Day Tankrai and Blackout Thursday. We'll be saying thank you for supporting us all this while. So, if you can sing, you can dance, you can do spoken word, you can do speech presentation, come on our live and you will be rewarded. That's our way of saying thank you. I love you and I care about you. You can see, I have been made the Prime Minister of Akebulan. Akebulan. Wisdom. Now water. Wisdom. It's the principal thing. Love yourself, Akebulan. Love yourself.